All right, so here with Ryan John. This is third time? Second time?
I think it's the third, yeah.
Third time? Excellent, good. Going to talk about muskeg hunting here in Southeast Alaska. Kind of breaking down the rut. So, first of all, thanks for being on here again. And how's the rut? How's the muskeg experience been so far for you?
It's been pretty slow for me. Pretty slow. Passed on one small spike buck last weekend. Couldn't get myself to go out the other weekend, and then the weekend before that it was beautiful, and I went up and for a few days and helped a friend out with a goat hunt, so I didn't go on that one. But hopefully this weekend I'll have some better luck. So we'll see.
What time of year is kind of your favorite? People kind of look at Halloween as either the start of it or like the day to be out there for sure. Are you a first part of rut a little before Halloween? Are you a Halloween guy? Are you all the way through till Thanksgiving? What's kind of your ideal time to go out?
Ideal is when, for me, is when late October to about the 1st of November. I mean, I'm going to be out there regardless. So, but my favorite time, and I've seen deer moving late October, and this year actually that's been a little different for me. So it's just been like first week in November is when I've actually seen some deer move this year. So it kind of varies, but definitely like to be out there before it gets going off, and then during, of course. So anywhere from late October to the beginning of November. So
Last year I didn't get a rut deer. I got a deer on the opening weekend, and that was it for the entire year. And I think part of my mistake was I was getting after it hard in September. Because 2 years ago I got 4 bucks, and so I thought I was really cool. I thought it was just, I'm going to start filming these things, I got it figured out. So I got a real humbling experience. So I was every weekend in September I was camping, and in October. So by the time, late October, early November showed up, like I was already kind of exhausted, right? I mean, it's only the weekend, but you just put a lot of time. You don't see any stuff, and you start to get a little discouraged. And all of a sudden, it's Halloween, and then you don't get one. You're like, oh my gosh, other people are getting them, and then this is supposed to be the best time, and I'm not seeing one. And you start to it gets away from you. And then I think by the time November came, I wasn't as focused, and I wasn't hunting as well, and then ended up with nothing. It's kind of unfortunate.
yeah.
But this year's been nice, which is good. But I think I've been more focused on hunting each day and hunting better. So, what are some of the things that you look for when you're going to a muskeg or hunting this time of year? As far as like your mental approach and then the technique.
So this time of year, I like the weather to be nice, but lots of times that doesn't happen. Last year we had what seemed like an awesome October and decent November. This year it's been okay. So the weather, but like when I'm scouting out an area, like on X or Google Earth, path of least resistance, I kind of like to work the muskegs and the surrounding areas, and like when I'm hiking in, try to find the spot that's less brushy that you can't tell on the maps. Definitely difficult. Sometimes you just get stuck in that stuff, and then check the contour lines, of course, and all that good stuff. So kind of look for a little bit of everything. But like we were talking earlier, we always picture like I have to stop and slow myself down because I'm always in a rush to get to the muskeg. That's where the open area is. I picture a deer's going to be waiting for me, and that's never the case. So typically I'll get to like an open area muskeg as quietly and as quickly as I can, and occasionally jump deer on the way there. Sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't, and then like this time of the year, I'm really working my call. Sometimes rattling, sometimes grunt, and then just my doe bleat call. I've been able to grunt one buck in. That was a few years ago, and then rattling and grunting at the same time. That's I haven't had much luck with that, but the doe call, typically I'm trying to get a doe to come in and then see if something is following her, or lots of times see if just maybe a buck will come in, like this last weekend. Got to a spot, waited. I was still kind of behind some cover, so I could still see what was going on. Try to stay out of sight, of course, and then just started blowing on my deer call a little bit here and there, a couple sequences, and then just kind of waited. And it could take them a while to come in. You could hear them right off the bat, so you just kind of never know.
I had heard somewhere, maybe I invented it, I don't know, I guess it makes some sense, but sometimes things make sense to you, but they don't actually happen like that out in nature. But a risk that might be run by rattling is that if it's a really aggressive rattle, that a smaller buck might just flee. And so if there's a buck around there that's pretty big, that's curious, it might come to it, but it might sound like how I would react to two people who are about ready to fight, who are like MMA fighters. Yeah, I'm out of there, right? I'm not coming over to see what's going on there. So are there concerns when it comes to rattling, or is that not anything that you really worry about?
For me, there is. I definitely don't try to do it like what you see on outdoor TV, where they're just getting with it and just sounds like two bucks are just going at it, because I have hiked around a lot, and I've never, ever seen just two bucks going at it like that. Just super aggressive, like what you're saying. So I just kind of, just a little toy, little here, little there. Occasionally when I'm doing that, I'll move some brush around, and I have yet to get anything to come in. But it definitely sounds real, but I'm not getting with it super aggressive, just a little bit, because I have seen bucks kind of spar, but they're never like kicking one down on the ground or whatever and just getting super aggressive. So, but I have tried it, no luck yet. So I haven't tried it this year. So
yeah, I tried it a little bit, and the rattle that I'm using is from a wolf kill that had it's a nice 3-point that has eye guards on both sides. So the first time I did it, I thought, okay, well, when the antlers are going to come together, they're going to kind of like hit and lock horns,
kind of clash.
Yeah, and so I did that, and man, I just got one of those eye guards right in my thumb.
Oh yeah,
and oh man, it hurt. It obviously didn't break the skin or anything, but I thought, dude, you just gotta bite the lip for a second. But I'm gonna try to walk through. I got Onyx on my laptop in front of it, so I'm gonna try to walk through a situation here without using too many pronouns, so that people can kind of listen and kind of know what I'm talking about. So it doesn't really matter where I'm at, but I'm just going to look at some approaches for this. So we got a road right here that's drivable. There are 4 muskegs that are relatively close to the road. When you're looking and you're scouting on here, are you looking at the furthest one just because the people are going to attack this one because it's easy and close? Are you looking at circling through the close one, getting to the next one? Are you looking at walking through brush to the back one and working your way forward? Or what's your plan from the road if you got a series of 3 or 4 muskegs?
For me, it's really hard to pass up not at least checking it out. Just because if there's a nearby doe or if there's a nearby buck that could possibly be in the area, regardless if it's close to the road or not. Deer are on the road all the time, so why wouldn't they be in that first muskeg as well, regardless of how many people have walked through it? So for me, I would definitely at least check it out just a little bit. If it's too far out of the way and I got one certain area on my mind, I'll just skip it, and then maybe on the way out, just come around if I have the time and daylight. So I would kind of just skimp by it first and not spend too much time there, because typically once I have a spot in my mind, I kind of want to get there. But
yeah. When you are looking at a muskeg that you like, because I know you like to hike a lot, and so you'd be willing to go a little bit further, are you looking for like a muskeg that's backed up against some what looks like deep timber? Are you looking more at a lower swampy area? Are you looking, like, what are the contours or what are the things that make a muskeg look really good to you?
That's actually sometimes kind of hard to tell on X or just on any of these maps, but I typically am just looking for the bigger muskegs and then like the smaller pockets for some reason, like in the smaller pockets and the surrounding bigger muskegs. If it's on the way, I definitely like to hit those smaller pockets because I think there's more coverage in there for the deer. and they can hear what's coming. Doesn't always work out, but I have called deer in the smaller pockets too. So, but yeah, as long as there's just some, for me, as long as there's just some sort of muskeg there, I typically don't pay attention to what's around me. I don't know if that's worked in my favor or not. Mm-hmm. I just typically don't.
Yeah. It's always hard to tell exactly what works and what doesn't. You can accidentally get on a deer and you think that you did something right.
Yeah.
Which sometimes makes you then, because I was successful, using this river as a sound corridor, like I'm on this side, and then as soon as I cross the river, now I'm in a different sound area, which is closer to the muskeg, which, because it worked out, I think, oh, that was smart. It wasn't really what I was thinking at the time, but in hindsight, I'm like, dude, that's brilliant. I might then do that some other time. What I failed to do last year, and I realized that I was looking for just a nice muskeg, getting to the muskeg, sitting, and then have that open area, because it was the most convenient for me to be able to see. And I just imagined a buck in the muskeg, because you go to the muskeg, you walk the muskeg. But like you were saying, with those smaller in-between areas, if I was a deer, that's where I'd live, right? And you might walk through a muskeg, which I think maybe is, where you're seeing them and you get the nice one that's out in the muskeg, but hunting those transition areas, the smaller ones. And then there's always that trail that's in the brush that goes all the way around the muskeg.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
And do you walk in those, or do you walk right on the edge of the muskeg when you get there? Or do you stop as soon as you reach the muskeg and call from there?
I'll typically, so when I'm approaching a muskeg, I will like to stop before I get to the actual muskeg. That way I'm not sitting right in it, and then I'm not totally exposing myself. So I like to keep myself a little bit of cover. So still stay in the vegetation a little bit. I mean, there's always that buckbrush around or some trees, so definitely try to keep myself concealed. And then once I get to there, I get comfortable, and like this year, it could happen really fast. So I already have an arrow knocked, and I got my bow hanging in the tree, so I'm waiting, I'm getting ready, and maybe that's why I haven't seen deer, because I'm actually ready for it. So so once I'm ready, I kind of look around, see if there's anything moving, and then from there I'll try a couple sequences on the call. It's hard for me to sit still, so maybe I'm too impatient, but I'm typically a run and gun type of guy, so it's hard for me to sit still for a while. So 10 minutes after not hearing anything other than the birds, I mean it's 10-15 minutes, it's time for me to go. So I'll move on to the next one, and then sometimes, like if I have to get across rather than going all the way around the muskeg, I'll just skirt around the edges, or if I'm just in a hurry to get back to the truck, I'll just go right through it, just because if you jump something, awesome. If not, then didn't save any time by going around.
Yeah.
So
The second buck that I got during rut we're walking through the muskeg, and it was kind of in a transition area between, like, there was a larger muskeg that kind of like almost a butterfly look, and so like in the middle there was a little bit of trees, and so we emerged on the other side of the muskeg, but we were in the middle of the muskeg, and the deer was in the muskeg too, and so I think that may have ruined my idea of how program is supposed to run, and so I was just walk through the muskeg, but now again, like I said, that I've worked those edges a lot more. And it's amazing how much better you can see when you're not in the muskeg than in the muskeg.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the muskeg, you look toward the brush, you can't see anything. Unless there's movement, you see antlers, you see something like that. It's so hard to see back in the brush. But if you are in one of those spots on the trail that goes around or in one of their beds, you can see out into the muskeg and you can pick apart movement so much easier. And it's just a huge difference. And so you can't see the entire muskeg, but you can see, to the left, to the right in front of you. Makes a huge difference, and it makes sense that that's where deer would bed. But it would be impossible to try to pick out or see a bed from inside the muskeg.
Yeah, very, very true. Very true.
So this approach that I made on the muskeg, I went way out of my way because of wind. How much attention do you pay to wind compared to, because it always ruins stocks, but are you just as concerned about wind as you are when you're alpine hunting, or how much concern does wind play when you're hunting in the rut, when you're going toward muskegs?
So right now, just because I've started bow hunting and I'm still new to it, in the past I've never paid attention to wind. I mean, it's just never occurred to me, especially this time of year. I think that if the deer are rutting and they're rutting super hard, and I just don't know if they pay attention to it or what. So, but this year I have been paying attention to the wind a little bit more. I definitely want to approach from the where there's, so like here, if the wind's pushing there, and then I definitely want to approach from the downwind side of it. That way they don't catch my scent.
Mm-hmm.
In the alpine, definitely want to pay attention on the stalk, from what I've noticed. So it's kind of hard to tell because it's always windy up there. So,
Yeah.
and you never know what it's going to do.
Yeah, it swirls a lot.
Yeah,
Tough.
It makes for fun hunting. So, but yeah, I've paid attention to it quite a bit more this year than I typically have. So it's kind of hard to approach it. I mean, especially if you're coming in from the upwind side of it, and then you got to backtrack around because those deer, their hearing is excellent, so they're definitely going to hear you.
Yeah.
They're going to know something's up. So it's just tough.
Yeah, I'd heard people who aren't as concerned because, like you said, they're rutting, and so their tolerance for movement sometimes is, sometimes you can just walk up to them and they're just like, I can't even think right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the premise and the skill of, no, you might as well think about it and always consider it that way. Like it's just built into your hunting program, and no matter where you're hunting or when you're hunting, that you're considering about the wind. And so I've done that, and I know some people who are absolutely meticulous. They don't matter. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. You always worry about that, and so that was why I went in this way, and it was crazy. I just said this way, and you can't see that.
Mm-hmm.
But so I went a little bit to the east of the muskeg that I wanted to go to, and I was approaching it at about the midway point of the muskeg, rather than coming up from the south directly into it, which is the direction of the wind. Came in from the east, and there was a rise. There was a little bit of an elevation, maybe a 10-foot sort of up this embankment from a swamp, and then there were a couple of really nice beds in there, and I couldn't see the muskeg from some of those beds. Do you ever walk? If that trail that goes around the muskeg, do you ever walk that if it's easier to get around, or do you get a little bit closer so you can see into the muskeg?
I've done both. those deer, they do make nice trails around it. So it is, and yeah, you do see beds, and you do see a lot of signs just on the edges just in the timber just a little bit. So it is kind of nice to follow it and then kind of work their path to get to the muskeg. So yeah, I've definitely done both.
Yeah.
It's not like that all the time though. Lots of times in the brush.
It's never like
everything
that.
grabbing onto you.
Yeah. What about water? What about do you ever use rivers or streams or anything like that as cover? Do you if you happen to be at a place like I know during the alpine sometimes, or even if you're hunting near Ketchikan, sometimes it's nice to time it when there's a float plane going by to just kind of make more time through the brush because there's other ambient noise, so you can make go 15, 20 yards pretty fast because the sound's going to get drowned out. Are there any sort of like little, I hate the word life hacks or tricks or, those sort of things, but is there anything that you like to do that's kind of something that you learned and thought, man, this is a cool little tip?
No, not really. Rivers, yeah, definitely if you're heading in that direction. They are nice because most of the time it's tall timber around them, so it's a little, I'm not going to say easy walking, but sometimes there's just some nice walking to get to where you're going. You possibly could see a deer in there. I mean, there's always deer sign along the river, so that's definitely something to keep in mind, I guess. So, but as far as any tips or tricks, no. If there's a plane around, I typically get pretty annoyed because that's something I don't want to hear when I'm out hunting. But I mean, they're everywhere around here, so nothing out of the ordinary that I do. Nothing that I can think of right now. Anyway.
You go out there because you want to be by yourself, and sometimes you have these reminders.